Hey, good people, this is Ahmed Minawa from MinawaTube, and today we're going to talk about tourist visas in Asia. We're going to go through some countries in Southeast Asia. We're going to talk about Bali, we're going to talk about Philippines, we're going to talk about South Korea, Japan, Malaysia, and Singapore. So, we want to know now in 2021 what are the regulations? Are we all going to be able to go to these countries for tourism? Me, myself, I had to go to Malaysia and Singapore last year. But because of this whole pandemic, I kept on postponing it until even my tickets run out. So um, today I want to talk about it with you, and I want to tell you what are the latest updates and whether it is possible for you to travel from your country to one of these beautiful, beautiful countries for a holiday, especially that summer is soon, not very far from now. So what is gonna change or what has changed already? So first of all, let's start with a clear question so we don't beat around the bush. Is it possible during the pandemic in 2021 to travel to these countries? Will they allow us in with a tourist visa or no? And first, let's start with Bali. Bali is an island in Indonesia, a very beautiful island. Is it possible? Yes, it is possible to get a visa, but the only visa that you're able to go to Bali at the moment is not a tourist visa. It's called the social and business visa. So obvious from the name, it is for people who are going to Bali for business reason. So this allows you to stay up to 6 months in Bali without the need to renew your visa. So just think about it in this way. Are you going to do some business in Bali? Are you going to kind of, let's say, maybe think of real estate or start a business in Bali or look for opportunities? Go for this visa. If you're really the main goal that you want to go to Bali is tourism, try not to abuse this visa because a lot of people go there for business and you don't want to ruin it for them. So if you're there for business and then you maybe take out of this 6 month, a month to enjoy your time, great, but it should be used mainly for business. So in short, there is no tourist visa at the moment for Bali. They're still very strict with this issue. So unless you're going there for business, yeah, that's the only option at the moment. And anyway, if you like go there for for business and then after you decide like, okay, I want to do some tourism, there's not a lot you can do. There are many places like the monkey forest in Ubud is very popular. It's closed, you can't go there whatsoever. And most of the areas that a lot of tourists gather in, like closed areas, are closed. So they're trying to maybe limit people gathering in places. So maybe if you're living in Bali, you're okay with that. But if you're going there for tourism, I don't think you would be happy not seeing these amazing places. So that is the part where I'm talking about tourist visa for Bali. So next, let's talk about the Philippines. Philippines, a very, very beautiful country. Of course, very close also to Bali and very close to Thailand, but it has its own thing and it has its own gems that you have to see. Are you able to go to Philippines at the moment? No, whatsoever. You can't get a tourist visa to go to the Philippines at the moment. The country is on a total lockdown. They don't want anyone from foreign countries, especially from countries that are having this new strain. So it's really hard. Is anybody exempted from entering or from getting a tourist visa and they can just enter the country? Of course, like most countries, of course, foreign governments can come and visit. And let's say, for example, spouses. Let's say if you're married to a Filipino, you'll get a special kind of permit to enter. And also, in case you're a kid, maybe from another nationality, and the mom is a Filipino living in Philippines, of course, they can enter and visit their mom if they're minors, definitely. And for business, also, there's kind of business visa. They're a bit tricky. You have to go through some articles and read very well, like special visa 47A articles, and also you have like certain immigrants which are mentioned under 13A, B, C, D, E, and G. So you'll have 9D also for business visa. You have some people who fall under business. That's the idea. for who fall under business, of course, and foreign airline crew. A airline crew, sometimes they have to sleep over, so they're allowed to enter the country. Generally, tourist visa not allowed. Going to Philippines for tourism not allowed at the moment, and you can't really play around with that. Philippines is a little bit more expensive than Bali and Thailand when it comes to tourism. Plus, now that there is lockdown, so there will be even less tourists in the most attractive places. So even if you manage somehow to navigate and like go for your tours, you would pay a lot of money because you and maybe a very little people will manage to go for those tours. So you will be paying for the whole service on your own. So yeah, that is Philippines. Philippines, don't think about it right now. Hopefully, within the coming 6 months, maybe before the summer starts, things will get better. Next, let's talk about two countries that usually they have the same laws when it comes to tourism: Singapore and Malaysia. Singapore and Malaysia are like almost every country in the world is kind of exempted from visa to enter that country. But it doesn't mean now that you can get on a plane and just go there and it will be okay. You're not allowed to enter the country at the moment. The country is on a total lockdown. Short visas are not being given. They're only allowing people who have residence visas and allowing people who have maybe spouses and some kind of maybe like not, of course, not a citizenship but permanent residence, maybe because they're married to a local citizen there, but they're not allowing tourists. So if you're planning to go to Singapore or Malaysia on tourism, just consult the embassy in your country, let's say a Singaporean embassy or the Malaysian embassy, and see what they tell you exactly. But generally, most people are not actually allowed to go there unless they're on business or they're government officials. And of course, if they're residents because of their spouse or something like that and they have permanent residency, they have a special kind of treatment. But in general, whether you are having that special kind of treatment or not, you're gonna have to stay in a state quarantine, and then after they'll let you get into the country. So just put in your mind, Singapore, Malaysia, even if you manage to enter those countries and you want to do tours, you're not going to be able to do tours. Most of the countries on lockdown, most of the touristic places, you can't actually go in there. So, yeah, that's for Singapore and Malaysia together. Now let's talk about the amazing Japan. Japan is a very beautiful country in Asia, and it is totally worth visiting. A bit expensive compared to the other countries I mentioned earlier, but it is totally worth to visit at least once. Are tourists allowed to enter Japan at the moment? No, no way. They're not allowed to enter Japan. They're very strict, Japan, with their laws, and especially for tourists, they're not allowing anybody to enter for tourism or for a short-term visit. They're only allowing people who have business visa or have residency for work or work permits. They're allowing them to come under tight restrictions, of course. Almost towards the end of last year, they were almost trying to make things a little bit easier for tourists, but then after they tightened them again because of the second strain now, which was found in England. So they tightened everything again, and of course, not only in England, Brazil, and other countries. We don't want to just talk about one country and blame them. No, it's not their fault. So yeah, so the Japan is like on. It's not allowing tourist visa whatsoever. So if you want to go to Japan, either you're working there or you're going there for business, and then maybe you can do your tours or whatever you want. Now, Japan, we all know that Japan is one of the richest countries in Asia, so they don't really rely on tourism. If you would notice that countries which rely on tourism a lot are have less restrictions. You will notice that Bali is the easiest, then after Thailand, then Philippines, and then Singapore, Malaysia, and then Japan is one of the strictest. So it's also South Korea. So Japan, we can. I think it will be one of the last countries in Asia to open for tourism, maybe towards the end of the year. So yeah, that is for Japan. Finally, I want to talk about Thailand, the country that I am in at the moment. I talked about it in the video before this. You can check it out. In my last video, I talked about coming to Thailand. But Thailand, you can come to Thailand with a tourist visa apparently, and you just need to fulfill all the requirements, the hectic requirements. There's a lot of them. Things can go wrong very easily. A lot of people are not opting for coming to Thailand at the moment because of the hefty long quarantine, which is like 2 weeks, and also the high price of the quarantine stay, $1,000. If you're lucky, you get something for around 800, 700, between 700 and 800, but that's not possible whatsoever. There's a lot of people filling up the quarantine. It's a good business at the moment. So yeah, it's very hard, but generally it is. There's a lot of regulations, a lot of laws. You have to go through the embassy. You have to get certificates of health and fit to fly and everything, and negative result. And then after, you have to stay in quarantine after that. It is kind of hectic. Just check out my video before this. I explained everything in detail. But you can come to Thailand. So if you really can't take it and you want to come to Thailand, maybe you have many good reasons to come to. Maybe you don't have a good reason. You just want to get out of the cold or the winter in the Western countries, and you just want to come to Thailand. At the moment, it's summer. So yeah, you just want to come here. You want to enjoy the tourism with, like, alone, almost alone, with not a lot of tourists disturbing you, as I myself am enjoying it right now. Yeah, so you just have to go through all these hectic hurdles until you get to where you want in Thailand and enjoy your holiday. So that's it for me. I hope now you have an update January 2021 about the tourism in Southeast Asia, and I hope you can make a good decision now where you want to go and where you want to travel at the moment, or where you would plan to travel in general. So thank you for watching. If you like this video, please press the like button, comment down below, and subscribe to the channel. And if I forgot to mention anything or I messed up something, please let me know in the comments down below. Thank you very much for watching.